Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another Minisode episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I am joined today with Kristin Ponzi from Westerville, Ohio. She is an LMT and the owner of Essence Bodywork. Kristin, hello. How are you doing?
Hi, Heather. I am happy to be back.
I am super excited to have you back. Has it been 6 months since I've talked to you?
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I miss you. So I'm so glad we're catching up. I want to hear everything that's going on. But let's take it back kind of to when you came to coaching originally. You were dealing with burnout. You want to tell everybody kind of the symptoms of what you were experiencing and what that was like for you?
Sure. So about a year ago was maybe the first time I'd really thought about coaching. Now it's probably like not quite a year ago. And I think I just missed like your Raise Your Rate boot camp. And I wasn't even listening to the podcast, but I was burnout. Like I was not enjoying work. It was gotten into one of those feelings of you get up and you just don't want to go to work and you weren't making any money. So it like compounded the stress of your whole life. And then like your relationships with your spouse or your kid are strained. And you're just unhappy, like that general feeling of blah all the time. And I didn't know how to fix it. I knew some things that needed fixed. And it's easy for someone else to come and say, just raise your rates.
Yeah.
But it's like, as a business owner, it's harder to just wrap your mind around that and do it for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
So you had done like a little introductory exploratory call. And I was like, another prior coaching client had told me about that. So I was like, oh, I think I'll get on that. And I was the only one there. And I cried like for an hour talking to you about it because I was so depleted. And I kind of felt like nobody really understood very much about what I was going through. And I knew that you would because you're another MFR therapist. And I think MFR therapists think a little differently. And as a coach and another business owner, it was good to be able to talk to somebody that understood more about what I was really going through and how hard it is to make changes sometimes, or how hard our brain makes it.
Yeah.
Because once I got into coaching, making those changes really wasn't as hard as my brain made it.
Yeah.
As
We always like create such a hell for ourselves. Like we create so much drama around things that are making us miserable. It just kind of tightens the handcuffs on us, like so that we can't make decisions. And then that's even more exhausting because you're struggling to get free of that and you just struggle and struggle and struggle. So it was really cool, like to watch your transition when you came to coaching, because you were like, you were like, I am really wanting to just close this, like closing this down feels like the only option. Right. And then pretty quickly you were like, oh, I can just change my hours. I can change the days I work. I can change my rate. And then really quickly you started to make money, right? Like almost right away. Did you notice that you started to make money instead of lose money?
Yes. And that thought I did have, like, well, this is either going to work and I'm going to turn everything around. I'm going to feel good about my business, or then it'll be confirmation that I need to move on, which was kind of heartbreaking too, because I've done MFR and massage therapy for so long. Like I just never imagined doing anything else. So yeah, once I started making those changes, my income did just start going up and up and up, and learned how to coach my brain around making decisions. That was really helpful because then I could make decisions easier without sitting on them and thinking about them for so long, or just having them be like pipe dreams, or like, I don't know how to raise my rate from this to this, and talk to my clients about it. And be okay with losing a couple people with a few of the changes I've made, because I had to deal with that, and, coach my brain around, being okay with those changes. And guess what? I lost 2 really regular clients, and I still have a ton of new people coming in every month.
Yeah.
And now I know how to do packages too, which is super fun in my brain. Because I always was like, I would like to do like see people every week, but my schedule didn't allow that. And it's like, now I figured out I can do that. I can offer that to people.
That's so fun. When you first came to coaching and you were like, okay, I need to make these changes. I want to raise my rate. I want to switch my schedule around. I want to offer packages. And one of those fears of losing clients. And we know the result was you lost 2 people. Like, knowing that now, is it even that big of a deal? Like, was it as big of a deal, or was it as painful as your brain anticipated it was going to be?
It was, of course, it was uncomfortable when you're having a conversation with someone and they're saying they're not going to come back, but it's not as big of a deal. And I can see people listening to this that are not through that yet and being like, yeah, whatever, she says that now. But it had to be done.
Yeah. And it's 2 people out of like, how many people do you see a week?
I see usually 14 people a week.
Okay. Like, that's a lot of people when you add up, like, over the month, like over the year, right? It's like 2 people.
Yeah. Because I have people like, I feel like they're beating down my door right now.
I love that. So
like,
tell me what that's like. How is that?
I'm an in-demand therapist.
You're an in-demand. I love it. I love all of this. This is so good. So tell us, what is it like going from almost burnt out, ready to, like, you were like very black and white, like, I'm either going to change everything or I'm closing my business. Like, this is going to help me figure it out. So you got through that. You obviously didn't close your business, but what is it like to go from burnout to fully booked, but like not burning out anymore? How do you handle the change?
It's fun. There were a couple times when I went through some things and you were like, well, can you let this be luxurious instead of stressful? Like, can you find that space in there where you can enjoy what you're doing? And so now I kind of feel like everything's that way. Like, I talk to my clients and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I can sit here and really talk with you to evaluate you and understand your problem. And explain to them how I can help them. And it's great. It's enjoyable again. Like, it's just reinvigorated business, and I could see some potential for growth down the road. And I know how to do some self-coaching around decisions I have to make right now until I hop back into coaching again. And it's so much different. And I'm making money, so I'm not stressing about money.
Yeah. What's that like? What is the value of not stressing about money? What is that?
Oh my gosh.
Like, what does that look like?
It looks like, oh, I need new tires for my car. And how am I going to figure out how I'm going to pay for that? Where it's like, oh, I need new tires for my car. Okay, I can fit that in here and just pay for it, and I'm done with it. Like, it's not like so 6 months of trying to sort out how I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That makes me want to start crying, because I know what that's like to have, one thing after another kind of build up. Like, your kid needs dance lessons, and then like the transmission goes out, and then the washer and dryer break. But it's a totally different experience of your life when like kid needs dance lessons and you pay for that, and the transmission goes out, and you need a new dishwasher or washer and dryer, and being able to just do those. Not because any of us want to spend money on those things, maybe the dance lessons, right? But like, or karate, right? Your daughter does karate.
She does taekwondo.
That's right. Okay. We'll just get the facts straight. We're paying for taekwondo lessons. So, but being able to handle those things and not have it become the difference between vacation and this thing, or food and this thing, that's huge.
Yeah. And I feel like as a family, we've been able to like pay down some debt that I felt like is just hanging out there all the time, where it was like, okay, we need to get this paid off so we can do this next thing.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on one thing that was just huge for me for coaching. And this was part of the burnout and coming out of that. And it goes further back before last year. and the pandemic was part of this too, because I think a lot of, especially massage therapists, maybe have this story where we were shut down and had to maybe go on unemployment for the first time ever in our lives. And in Ohio, we're under the medical board, and we were kind of treated like the redheaded stepchildren. Like, they didn't have time to deal with us at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense, but it left you with this big sense of like, nobody cares. I have this bigger money story now. And the money story really sank into a self-worth issue for me. And through coaching, there was like one day when you were just like, Kristin, your self-worth is not tied to the amount you charge your clients. And it was like, boom. And I was like, oh, she's really right. That's like nothing to do with this. And then I was able to move forward with my business stuff and at the same time work on my own personal self-worth issues and basically like self-love. And that's totally changed and improved in my life too, for myself on a personal level, not a business level. Yeah. And like, so for me, I've had wins in business and in my personal life because of coaching. And what is that worth? That's like priceless. I don't know how else to say that. I mean, yeah. It's amazing.
I love that. That's been my experience with getting so much coaching for myself, is like the difference in how I experience my life, because I experience my perception of myself completely different than I used to. Like, I used to always apologize for myself. I just remember like going to seminars and like bumping into people and being like, oh, sorry. Oh, so, like, I was apologizing just for being alive all the time. And right. Like, I rarely ever do that. I found myself at the post office the other day. I was mailing out a bunch of like my shirts and water bottles to my current clients. And like, I had packages like falling all over the place. And anyway, I was taking up a lot of space, and there was a line of men behind me. And my first instinct was to like apologize. And I was like, you're not apologizing. You got here first. Nobody held the door for you. You dropped your packages 4 times on the way in, and you made it here before these people. And like, you get to check out. Like, you just take up this space. And having like self-coaching myself in the line while I was definitely feeling uncomfortable, not apologizing was a huge win. Like, there was no reason to apologize. I didn't need to apologize for being there. So.
And that's a lesson I want to teach my daughter too. Like, I don't want her to grow up, feeling like she has to apologize for everything, or that it's not okay for her to take up space or anything else. Like, all the things that, some of us have learned later in life. Like, now I get the opportunity to teach my daughter at a younger age.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, the generational emotional wealth that you're going to bestow on your daughter that she'll then like hand down to her children, to her you know what I mean? Like, it's generational change and it starts with us. Yeah. And like, there's so much value in the emotional wealth that we have. Like, not even like the financial wealth is just like, is a fun byproduct of our emotional wealth. I think it's just such a cool experience. I love it. I want all the daughters to have emotionally well moms and that are just like, this is how we do it. We don't apologize for taking up space. We can make decisions. We can have 6-figure businesses. Like, everything is safe for us to do. Like, it's safe to be in Taekwondo. It's safe for you to yell. It's like safe for you to break boards, all the things.
Yeah. It's safe for us to have money and spend some money.
Yeah. The safety isn't in the savings.
Have fun.
It's the ability to spend it too. Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Okay. Why don't you tell us so we know that you're not burned out anymore, like, but tell us exactly what's happening in your business. Are you fully booked? How much money are you making? Like, what do you want to tell us?
Okay. So yeah, I didn't check my numbers as far as like my fully booked numbers, but I've been like pretty close every month and like close enough that it's kind of a wash to me. Like, if it's 1 or 2 clients, sometimes it'll be 1 or 2 clients over. Yeah. I was looking at my numbers in a couple fun ways. So I looked at January through April, because when we're recording this, it's May.
Yep.
So January through April of this year, I made a little over $25,000.
Great.
January through April of last year, I made a little over $13,000.
Okay.
So I made, almost $12,000 more in the
Yeah.
same time frame. And then I was like, oh, well, why did I make since coaching? Okay, so I started coaching at the end of July last year.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, I've made a little over $65,000, and we still have 2 more months until like it would be a full year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. The previous year time frame that was like 12 full months was only like $52,000. So
Yeah.
like
And
I'm on
that's still
target.
that's not bad, but like to collapse time and make 65K in half the amount of time, or 8 months instead of 12, or 10 months instead of 12, whatever the math is on that. That's so cool. That's what
Yeah. So
that's one of the things you're paying for in coaching, is the ability to do those things faster. So ultimately you make more money working less hours.
yeah, and I am working less hours because I already remember those numbers from earlier. And like all the numbers I set when I initially went through, like, okay, before I set my rate of finding out what all my numbers were, and I'm hitting those targets. And I'm just like kind of beside myself a little bit sometimes, like, look what I'm doing now. Like I set
Yeah.
this goal, and I've been pretty consistent with hitting it. And still like March, like I had a good month in March. I hit my number for the month, and I still took a week off for spring break vacation.
That's amazing. What was your number for March? Do you remember?
I don't have that one in front of
Okay.
me. I
That's
just
okay.
remember that
You're like, I hit my goal and I took a
like,
week off. Did you guys go to Hawaii?
no, we went to South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay. All right. That's awesome. Did you go to Hawaii in this last year? Like, I feel like I saw
No, that was me.
that wasn't you. Okay.
Sounds like fun though.
Somebody I was following was like in Hawaii. I was like, why am I not in Hawaii?
I know. Right? Oh, I
We
like
need to
that.
all go to Hawaii. That's so fun. I love that. Like, you still hit your goals and you took a week off. Like, it just seems like more and more it can be and not I did this, but I didn't do this. So
Right.
yeah. And then are you getting regular MFR treatment? What's that look like for you?
Yeah. So I pretty consistently work with someone at least once a month.
Mhm.
I'm the study group leader for the area. So if we have study group in that month, then we get a little bit of treatment then. I've been adding in just a traditional massage with somebody that's just down the street from me
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
fun. In March, I was having an elbow issue. So I was like, I'm going to schedule a couple extra appointments. I scheduled an extra one with the MFR person I usually get treatment from.
Mhm.
When we were on spring break and vacation, I scheduled an appointment with a therapist in South Carolina who was awesome, who I'll see again at MFR 3 in
That's
October.
amazing.
And it was perfect. So I had weekly treatments, just like we tell our clients to do if they're having a problem.
Yeah.
I was having a problem. I knew what I needed to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about paying for MFR for yourself?
I don't have a problem doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
mean,
do you like doing it?
yeah,
Like, does it just seem like this is just what I do? It's just part of my
yeah,
time.
it's just what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, you even do it on vacation. I love that.
Right?
Love that.
I
I do that
especially
too.
do
Like,
it on
I always, if I'm traveling, I'm like, is there an MFR therapist in the area? Like, I'm going to San Antonio to meet my wealth coach, and I've never met her in person before, but I'm going for 4 days just so that I can meet with some of the therapists that live in that area and get treated. I'm like, I might as well get treated while I'm down here.
You know what I call that?
What?
I call it a friend tensive.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute. That's awesome. Yes. And I mean, the trip anyway is a business expense, but like if you go and you get MFR while you're on vacation, I think you can probably technically write some of that off as a business expense.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
for sure.
you have to- please consult your tax expert. Don't follow me for tax advice. Uh, oh my gosh, I can be such a nerd. Okay, tell me, was there anything before you joined coaching that you like didn't identify as needing coaching? Like, what kind of made you take the plunge and join?
One thing that I didn't know that I needed that I got a lot out of was really learning how to talk to clients about their problem and the results and that whole process. Like I
Mhm.
thought I was good with talking to clients. I've been doing this a long time, but man, I felt like I learned so much, and I can be more clear when I'm talking with them so they can understand how I can help them.
Yeah,
I still suffer from over explaining sometimes.
it's okay. It doesn't seem like this is the thing, like we might over explain. I do this too. It depends on like my nervousness level or like, did I have breakfast? I don't know. I don't know. I can't figure out what it's dependent on, but it's not actually affecting your result. Like you're fully booked or you're really maintaining your goals. So it's probably not something to super worry about. And then you can always go back and start evaluating if it's making you uncomfortable or you're not getting the result that you want, then you can just always use your evaluation skills to determine, oh, okay, I'm getting really long in the explanation, like why? What am I, why am I doing this? A lot of the time it's because we're nervous or because we're confused about their problem and we're afraid to ask a high value question. So we just fill in like that nervousness with our words. Do you think anything like that's going on?
Oh yeah, for sure. The other one would be if it's someone I know, then wanting to stay detached from the outcome. And I think like I know more about what's at stake for them. So
Yeah.
that can get a little chatty.
Yeah. But like the thing is to always go back to is like, what's possible for them. And if you just stick to really understanding what they want and making sure that they are the ones telling you what they want and you're not deciding what you want for them, then they can opt in, right? Then they're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm buying. And you're just like, this is what you're buying. Do you want to buy it? And they can be like, yes or no,
Yeah.
always. But I do think sometimes it can get a little sticky, especially with friendships when you almost know more about their problem than they do. So you've got to do some educating and like some really high value question asking to
Mhm.
get them on board with what they believe their problem is and their experience of it and like what is the cost of them not taking care of that situation, really leading from that energy than like, oh god, like the world is going to end if they don't get this treatment or I somehow suck if I don't convince them to get the treatment.
Right. And letting go of if people decide they don't want to get treatment.
Yeah, doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. I think that is one of those things in coaching that is a high value thing is like separating the difference between like what does no mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't have to mean they're saying no, they don't want us. They are just like it's just not a priority for them to get this treatment right now. That's it.
Yeah. And there were so many little things like that in the objections training that I didn't realize how big of a value it was until after we did it. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is really going to help me.
Mhm. And it's
And
fun. I think it's fun. Like, do you have more fun talking about like what you recommend and like overcoming objections? Have you gotten to the point where you're like, bam, bam?
well, I don't feel like I've had like overwhelming amount of like everybody coming in objecting things
Mhm.
because I feel like there's been a lot of people, new people lately that by the time they get to me, they're just like, yes, I need this.
Mhm.
And kind of stick with it for a while. So it's like after one treatment plan or two, if our results aren't quite there yet, then, we got to talk about things a little more.
Mhm.
So I just feel like things are going smoothly and definitely having the right mindset about thoughts I think about my clients. That was another big one.
Mhm. Yeah. What are
And
some of your like best thoughts you think about your clients right now that are the most helpful?
yeah, that they are motivated to feel better and want to get help and want to work with me
Yeah.
specifically, and that they're resourceful, that they're
Mhm.
going to figure out um, how to make things work, and that they want to do self treatment, even though some of them don't yet.
Yeah. But when you start to have the thought, all my clients want to do self-treatment, like it's amazing how all of a sudden that those are the kind of clients that come to you. I think this is really like really good information that you brought up, because a lot of times, and for anyone listening to us, like if your predominant thought is people don't understand what you're offering, they don't want what you have, and they don't want to pay money for it, those are the exact clients that you're talking to. And that is the exact reason you have that result in your business. So all you have to do is consciously change your thoughts about your clients. And then inevitably, like you will call those clients in because you're really in belief, like, oh, my clients are resourceful, they're smart, they know that they can get better, they want to get better, and they want to get MFR from me. It just changes the energy exchange between you and the world. And you can't help but draw in those patients.
Yeah. It's been good.
Yeah, that's so good. Such a good tool. It's like so easy too, because I have times too where I'm like, oh, nobody understands what I'm doing and nobody wants it. And you know, like, and you get like, feel so frustrated. And then you're like, oh, I'm just talking to the people that don't want it. Of course they don't. These people don't want it, but all these people over here do want it. So, and there's so many of them. So just remembering that. So that's good. I'm going to remember that for myself too, because that's very, very helpful to stay clear with what your thoughts are about yourself, your clients, and about your ability to get them results. It's like such a good triangle of beliefs. Yes. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up? Any last thoughts you have?
Oh, I don't know if I have any last thoughts. I talked about a lot of stuff already.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Would you recommend people come for coaching, I guess?
Absolutely. Yeah. No matter where you are in your business. So I 13 plus years in to my myofascial release business before I came to coaching. And had I done this a couple years ago, or even a year ago, I wouldn't have had to go through that year burnout. I would have been able to make those changes I wanted to make earlier. And, there's never too late, there anybody in the process, like brand new people to seasoned therapists. If you feel like you need some support, that's a huge part of this too, is the support from the other therapist. This is the place.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. I would say too, like, even if you think everything is fine in your business, so much more is possible for your business when you have a clean brain and when you can self-coach and when you just even know what's possible, because most of us are just living our lives with our lives happening to us and our business happening to us. But when you can see that you can happen to it and you can have so much control and direction over everything that's going on, it really opens the doors. That was my biggest like eye-opening thing when I hired a business coach. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like all MFR therapists need business coaching. Like if we all just had this information and we could all feel good about this all the time and like think about ourselves in a better regard, like anything would be possible. And that is, that's how I gave birth to this program. I was like, I have to do this. Everybody needs to know. So yeah.
I agree.
I love it. All right. Well, how can people find you if they want to? You guys should follow Kristin. She has awesome social media. Where can people find you?
So my website is www.essencebodywork.com. On Instagram, it's essencebodywork.mfr. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, go follow Kristin and like check her out. And if you're in Westerville, Ohio, if you're in the area, like you have online booking, right? I'm assuming. So get online, schedule a treatment with her. You won't be sad you did it, and make some connections. So thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in coaching again. Whenever you circle back around. And I will, for everybody else, I'll see you on another mini episode sometime soon. Bye.